Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. Yeah, we've been kind of put on the sidelines as far as our opening sketches. I'm starting to feel as though we're going to need to have a much-needed talk with our writer. The episode begins around a campfire. Crow has just been busy dropping the bombshell about the Four Maidens subplot mentioned in Season 3. I would go into detail about it, but this video isn't going to be anywhere near that long. So, most importantly, maidens are magical, there's only 4 of them, they get passed on from girl to girl, and the evil villainous organization wants them. Jean in particular is taking this news pretty hard because Pyrrha essentially died because they planned on making her the next Fall Maiden, but plans went awry. Crow assures Jean that it was her choice and no one else's, but Jean isn't convinced and he walks off in a huff. And they all demand to know more answers. Why the hell is this even happening at all? What's the purpose of getting the maiden's power? What's this evil Salem bitch's evil plan? But don't worry, Uncle Crow has got our back, as he's bringing religion into this. Oh, good God. Don't get me wrong, people. I'm always one down for some good old-fashioned lore, but this show's already a little bit convoluted and complicated with its plots already. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to bring in gods into this. Red vs. Blue brought in gods, and that is the worst received trilogy of Red vs. Blue so far. Well, Crow insists that if Ozpin is to be believed, there were 2 gods, one of creation and one of destruction. The god of creation would bring life, while the god of destruction would bring fire. But no matter what the god of destruction did, life finds a way. But the god of chaos decided to say fuck it and created the Grimm. But the brother of creation said, dude, we can't keep fighting, so let's build something together. Something that we could have equal parts in. So what do they create? Of course they create man, because it's always creation of man that can be good or evil. But when the gods left the mortal realm, they left behind 4 treasures. The treasure of destruction, the treasure of creation, the treasure of knowledge, and the treasure of choice. He who possesses all 4 of these treasures can control the fates of the world. The villains want these treasures, apparently, which is why the Huntsman's School was built to begin with, because it's a freaking fortress, surrounded constantly by the most highly trained and powerful soldiers. Seemed like a perfect plan. But we all know what happened. With the fall of Beacon, they may or may not already have one of these treasures. So, what's the point of the maidens? Why do they need the maidens if they want the treasures? It just seems like an absurd thing to get, right? Am I the only one who feels this way? In Season 3, they wanted to get their hands on the Fall Maiden. But to bring these relics and treasures into the mix, what do the maidens have to do with the treasures? Can somebody explain this to me? I think there's an explanation in Season 5. You're just gonna have to wait. I would say it feels like they're just writing the story as they're going along, but I write my stories as they go along, and even I have a more concurrent narrative than this. This is just really convoluted and confusing for no other reason than to be convoluted and confusing. And we still don't know their end goal. We later cut back to the menagerie where we see everyone's favorite MILF talking to her daughter, everyone's least favorite cat girl, as she's trying to figure out how to talk to Dear Daddy. And Mommy gives her the perfect excuse with her little sassy remarks about wanting to continue to talk to Son about the adventures of the RWBY gang. Yeah, we all know that she's trying to fuck him. Ah, so you admit you shipped them? No, I admit that she's a cougar. So she pretty much dumps the tea onto Blake, not literally, and makes her be the one to deliver the tea to her dad. Her dad is busy working in the library, and he is so happy to see his daughter giving him the tea, and they try to spark up some sort of weird conversation bit, where he's trying to act like everything is normal, but Blake is clearly upset about something. And when he pries even further, she finally begins to break down, saying things like, "How could you love me after all the things I've said and done to you? I called you cowards. I called you weak, even though you were right about the White Fang and everything. And, well, Big Daddy Mufasa here comforts his daughter like any father would. They have a really nice father-daughter relationship, not gonna lie. I actually feel a little bit more for Blake in these scenes than I did long ago. Okay, so Blake's character might be able to be redeemed if they focus more on the family aspect and less on the Faunus Revolution aspect. It doesn't matter what they try to do with Blake, her whole motivation is still a lie. Here you go, Commando. Here's a nice prescription of aspirin. Aspirin? Why do I need this? For that butt hurt you're still feeling. Move on. Well, the father-daughter moment that Blake was having, which is still nice, is interrupted by Son being a little monkey's uncle. He does the whole playing it off like it's all still a joke thing, and Blake and Big Daddy Mufasa are really not impressed. This is like Blake's one good moment so far in the series, and he fucked it up. Yep. But then we cut back to RWBY and the gang, who they're still talking. A lack of fighting in this episode, but that's not what this episode's all about. It's about building the lore of this world, so I'm willing to give it a pass on that. As Crow begins to explain the whole situation involving the Silver Eyes, and why they're targeting RWBY. But not really, since he doesn't actually explain what the whole deal with the Silver Eyes is. Like, what is the Silver Eyes? What makes RWBY so special with the Silver Eyes? I don't understand. So, please explain it to me. Why does having Silver Eyes matter? But, again, no explanation. But we do get one explanation why Crow was shadowing them more than joining their little group to begin with. Well, turns out Crow has a good reason for keeping in the shadows, staying in the dark, keeping a bird's eye view, pun intended, on them without ever actually confronting them. It's because of his semblance. Semblance is the superpower that all characters have in the universe of RWBY. RWBY's is speed, while Yang's is Hulk smash, Blake's is copying an afterimage, and Whis is to summon giant monsters. But Crow? Well, Crow's apparently is bad luck, and it's not something he can turn off. Whenever he's in the midst of combat or even just in casual conversation, he causes bad luck to everyone and everything around him. Good for fighting bad guys, not good for protecting children. So, I suppose that's a reason, and it's a unique reason, but it's still kind of dumb. You get an S rank for superior in creativity, but it's still nothing more than a bad excuse. We finally cut to Blake chewing out Son for ruining her moment with her dad. But Son has a good reason. He spotted Faunus wearing the White Fang's masks in the menagerie, and apparently they don't do that. But Blake said she's not here to fight. She's here to relax, recuperate, and rekindle things with her parents. Son doesn't seem to accept this as an answer and tries to show her proof, but she still denies it. I sense a lover's quarrel. I only ship them harder now. Playing hard to get now, are ya? Okay, we gave you the kiss the girl. Drop it already. But they see in the shadows a stalking ninja. And, of course, Blake, seeing a threat, immediately charges after it, with Sun leading up the rear. Time to see what this bitch is up to. But it doesn't end there, as we cut to them waking up the next day, and Crow isn't looking so hot. And that was a much-needed talk. And despite being an episode built around building the lore, I don't feel I learned anything new. I'm a sucker for learning the lore of a world, but unless that lore builds on to the story, I'm not sure how much the lore would be worth to know. It's nice to know that Salem's plans aren't just get all the maidens for ultimate power bit, but how does this have any connection to each other? How do the maidens, which is their own fairy tale, not connect to these 4 relics? I don't see the connection. But, of course, we have to consider that Rooster Teeth RWBY took over the writing from Monty Oom's original script, and I bet my channel that this was definitely one of the changes. But we still don't know anything about Ruby's silver eyes and how they play into this. We don't know why they want the relics, and we don't know how the maidens connect to getting the relics. We just know that they're all part of some bigger plan, but again, the villains haven't really made any moves since the fall of Beacon. In fact, I don't think they even really played a role so far this season, except for that fight with Jared Leto. But addressing the black cat and the orange monkey of the room, that scene was very touching and honestly was worth more praise than what a lot of people give to Blake. Yeah, she's kind of a hated character still for me, but that scene was at least nice in trying to repair the damage that I felt like this whole season has done to Blake so far. And it does leave off on an interesting bit with that ninja prowling her house. Of course, we all know it has something to do with the White Fang, because she's been adamant about not fighting the White Fang, so of course, it's the White Fang. And it does give us a cliffhanger where Crow ain't looking too good, and it does make me wonder if they're going to save him. Spoiler alert, they probably are. But if this episode was trying to fill in the blanks, it leaves me with a lot more questions than answers. So, cue the meme.
I have so many questions!
And with that being said, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen. The organizers of chaos is Vintage Kings. We'll see you next time.
Admin access approved. Assuming direct control.